Hello and good evening. Good evening to all of you. And I'm Ritesh Jaiswal. Welcome to PW OnlyIAS. So this is a very special occasion, and we are here to discuss UPSC Mains 2025 GS Paper 3. So this is live discussion going on, and in this discussion, I'll be taking care of science and environment, and then Pratik sir will be joining, and Nikhil Ram sir will also be joining. So this is going to be very insightful discussion. I mean, not only for those people who have just completed their GS. I mean, now I'm sure that by now all 4 GS paper you might have written in a very good way. And this is especially, very insightful for those people who are all set to write their mains examination in coming time, because you have been working very hard in your classroom, in the online classes, right? And I know that you will leave no stone unturned to crack the prelims examination, and then you will get a chance to write the main examination. So this is going to be a kind of dress rehearsal for you, which kind of question they are asking and how to tackle those questions, and you will be also be benefited by it. Okay, so in this discussion, before we start, so this is paper 3, and trend analysis will also do a little bit of it. And you can see like there are 5 sections in paper 3: economic development, agriculture, environment, science and technology, disaster management, and internal security. And altogether we know that there are 20 questions, right? And this year the breakup of the question was like this. It's pretty much similar, right? Because they have to ask 20 questions, and these are the 20 questions out there. If you talk about science and technology and environment section, then there are 7 questions directly coming, and then 1 or 2 questions are also there where the linkages are there with the agriculture and all. So science and tech and environment, these all are linked with so many of things. So altogether 4 questions from science and technology and 5 questions from environment section. So altogether 9 questions we are going to discuss in this first phase, right? And then we'll see, right? But then if UPSC has conducted mains examination 2025 and then essay and all 4 GS paper, I mean, aspirants have already written, and now they will keep their finger crossed to get the desirable result. But what about those people who are aspiring for it, who are planning to write in 2026 or 2027, right? So what they can do? So for you, there is something, and that is called UPSC Mains 2025 simulator test. That means you can write this examination with the help of PW OnlyIAS, and then you can submit it. It will be evaluated, and then you will get the feedback. So it's always a good idea to do some practice. And if you want to do practice, then nothing can be better than the real question of UPSC mains examination. So 2025 mains examination and all 4 paper of the GS, including essay tests, and then you can write it, you can submit it, you will get the evaluation done, and then comprehensive model answer would also be provided, and this will be done totally free of cost. You don't need to pay anything for that. It's all about that. Let's do a dress rehearsal. Let's do a practice, and practice on UPSC GS 2025 and essay 2025 itself. So that is one thing you should always go for. Now let's come down to our analysis part. We are going to discuss that what kind of question was there, and how could we tackle it, how could it can be tackled, how can we make it, UPSC point of view, a good answer structure, then we can get that. Anyway, so we'll start with science and technology, and like I told you that 4 questions were there, and I'm very happy that the questions were good one, although It was evaluative and analytical, but the questions were good one. When I say good question, it means that I as a teacher get satisfied when if I discuss something in the class and then this discussion become fruitful only when you can catch some questions through this discussion, then as a teacher I'm very happy. So like any other year, this year also I'm very happy, and my students who are writing main examination, they will testify it. And so the questions were pretty good. The first question that we are going to discuss is, and it was about fusion energy. So that was energy part, technology, energy integration. The fusion energy program in India has steadily evolved over the past few decades. So that is one statement. Now, you know that when you are going to write this main examination, and whenever you see any question paper out there, and then you read the question, you need to give some time to read the question, and you need to read the questions, very carefully. At least, 45 to 1 minute you have to give to read the question only, so that you can understand the commands of the question. What question wants to ask precisely, that we need to understand. So there is one statement. This is a statement. Fusion energy program in India has steadily evolved over the past few decades. What happens that when such kind of statements are there, then it's very easy for you. You just write few lines so that you can justify this statement, and that would become your introduction part, right? So always, you can adopt this thing that, okay, statement is there, but a statement is not without any reason. The statement is there so that the aspirant can justify in a brief way, right? And then the second part is mention India's contribution to the International Fusion Energy Project, right? That is called ITER. That is called International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, ITER. And we know that India is part of it. What will be the implication of the success of this project? Implication of the success, that means benefit, right? For future of global energy. So globally, what kind of thing it can bring in? So pretty much three things are there. India's progress in fusion energy in past few decades. Second, that what is the contribution of India in ITER project, and this program is going to be a success, then what kind of global implication would be there in terms of energy? It's a good one, right? So in introduction part, obviously we'll talk about ITER project and we'll introduce it too. But again here we can add that because the question says that India has steadily evolved. So 1989, in 1980s, there is one organization in Gandhinagar, Gujarat, that is called Institute of Plasma Research. So Institute of Plasma Research, right? Our first fusion reactor, that is called tokamak reactor. The first fusion reactor, right? That is Aditya reactor. Aditya, that was established. It became critical. And I'll tell you, this is nothing but it's a kind of experimental reactor. It's not there to produce energy, but to do the fusion research and plasma research, right? So this little mentioning should be done so that we can justify that, okay, yes, India was there in fusion research before India became a full-fledged member of ITER. And then we can go with that ITER is a global fusion energy initiative. 35 nations, 7 members are there, because obviously in this nation European Union is there, one of the member, and you can see India became part of it in 2005, right? So 7 partners are there. Got the point? And what is India's contribution? So contribution part, you can see India is supplying 9% of ITER things. So India is responsible for the 9% cost, not in the form of cash, but technology and supply and human resources and all. So 9% India is contributing, and rest other countries are also contributing 9%. European Union, as the entire European Union, they are contributing 45%. That we have discussed pretty much in the class. We are not going into that detail. right? And what kind of component India is supplying? So the major component, the best one, is cryostat. Cryostat, right? Cryostat is a very important thing. In my classroom, I just open the entire nuclear reactor photograph, and then I show this cryostat that is being developed by India. It's already been developed, and it will keep the entire fusion process safer, right? So that is one of the key contribution of India. And there is also called, cooling water system to keep the entire system cool, and then power supply diagnosis system. But cryostat is something that is the important one, right? So if you have written the cryostat and little bit about it, just name cryostat would have been sufficient, because now the examiner would get to know that, okay, what is India's biggest contribution into this, right? Technical expertise we are providing, obviously. We are already 200 scientists from different industries, different organizations, including Institute of Plasma Research, Gandhinagar. They are working at ITER. And ITER is at France, Cadrech. You know that, because this discussion would be a little at higher level. So you need to understand this, that Cadrech is a research facility in South France. In France, this ITER project is going on, right? And our 200 plus scientists are working there, and they're helping into that, right? Indian industry participations are there. So companies like L&T, BHEL, Godrej, they are the key supplier, and they're also supplying into that. So three category: technological input, monetary input, technical export, and then some industrial participation that we can write. Obviously, it was 10 marks question, so 150 words only, and then you don't have much scope to go in detail. Then implication of ITR success for global energy. One is very clear, that you get unlimited supply of energy, because you are creating a sun. Fusion is nothing but it's a similar to sun, right? So abundant energy supply, that is one thing, right? And this will be limitless kind of thing, because hydrogen, we can get it from water, and then we can use it. Hydrogen isotopes would be used. Clean and green power. Everybody know that fusion will be free of any gases emission, and radioactive pollution and radioactive things of fusion will be manageable and short-lived. So not a problem at all, right? Reduce nuclear waste, like I told you, the short-lived waste, unlike long-lived radioactive waste in fusion. Safety advantage would be there, right? Because you know that fusion is not a kind of chain reaction, right? And wherever chain reaction is there, you need to control it. For that, you put control rod and everything, and that may lead to accidents sometime. But fusion is not depending upon any chain reaction. So that is also safety advantage all over the world. Energy security, right? So energy security, that means we will be departing from fossil fuel and this gas and oil kind of thing, and we'll be moving on to the more sustainable, more clean, more green things. And it will also promote global technological collaboration, right? Because 35 countries, 7 members are there, and they are helping each other, right? So that is what. And conclusion, there should be there. And conclusion, India's contribution to ITR reflects commitment to clean energy leadership. If successful, ITR revolutionize the world energy future, offering the sustainable, carbon-free and secure source. We know. So particularly, I am very happy about this question, because I have been teaching this topic for many years in anticipation that one day UPSC will ask the question into main examination. And thank God, it was this year only. So happy man, I'm right. Anyway, so this is, I know this is in little bit detail, but there you have to write in 150 words, right? Anyway, second question we can go with, that is the question number 6, and that says that how can India achieve energy independence through clean technology by 2047, right? It's 100 years of Indian independence. how can biotechnology can play a crucial role in this endeavor. The very, expected one you can say, because whenever we talk about biotech in the classes, we always talk about biological energy also, right? All the topic of biotechnology is somehow linked with biological energy, right? And biological energy is bioethanol, then biogas, right? Biomass we won't consider because burning of biomass will not be a good choice because of inherent pollution into it. But biological gases and bioethanol, biodiesel, this kind of thing we can always mention, right? So a little bit of introductory part you have to write, and obviously because we are talking about 2047 and we know that demand will be triple by that particular time, and we have to achieve it. And there is one more commitment. We have already having climate commitment under NDCs, nationally determined contribution, right? In COP meetings, in Paris Agreement, right? In 2015. So nationally determined contribution that we have to reduce the carbon emission in different ways, right? And in that way, clean energy, that is the main clean technology, is very important, right? Because clean technology with biotechnology, it can give you energy dependency, right? We won't be rely onto the other thing which we import from the other country, and you know that fossil fuel and all, right? So pathway to energy independence through clean technology. First thing, renewable energy expansion, right? And you know that renewable energy expansion means that solar, wind and hydro projects that we are going to expand. And already India has set a target of 500 gigawatt capacity by 2030. In climate related topic in environment, we talk about it. Second thing, energy storage and smart grids. We'll make some powerful batteries, we'll develop microgrids so that we can distribute and store the energy in a proper way. Efficient distribution of energy is very important because that will also save any losses of energy. So that is another thing, right? And electric mobility and green transport. You know that we are adopting EV at a very fast rate, and this EV will reduce the dependency on petrol that we have to put into that. And green transport technology, right? That is what the EV is. Carbon capture and utilization. There was a question around that also. I will talk about it, right? So if you want to use clean technology by 2047, then carbon capture and utilization, that you have to get it. So carbon capture and utilization, storage, this all you have to do. We'll talk about that. You know that you have just need to mention it, right? And waste to energy technology. So waste, converting urban and agricultural waste into energy like biomass, gasification in Punjab and Haryana. Relevant example you have to put in. So this is how you can just put a points, and with the points you write a little bit with example, because again I'll tell you 150 words only. You don't have any scope to write a lot about it, right? Then we are coming to that how biotechnology can play a crucial role in this endeavor. So like I told you that things will be there around biofuels. So biofuel production, genetically engineered algae, microbes, right, plants for bioethanol and biodiesel. We have talked about in our classrooms, CRISPR-Cas9 and all kind of things when we were discussing. We always discussed that, okay, energy part, it will also cater, right? Biogas and biomass conversion, obviously biomass and we won't be using directly, but then this biomass can be converted into methane by anaerobic fermentation, right? Biogas plants, and that's there in many states, including rural Maharashtra. So that will also a good way, because anyway the methane coming out of this, disintegrating biomass will be greenhouse gas. But if you capture this methane and use it as a fuel, then impact of the methane will be less and you get the energy as well. Energy crop, high biomass crop for sustainable fuel like sorghum, Napier grass hybrid. So from there you can get high biomass and then you can use it into the energy conversion. Green hydrogen and carbon fixation, that's a very important part. Green hydrogen. So green hydrogen means that you get the hydrogen, but to get the hydrogen, energy is needed, and that energy will come from renewable sources. So that will become green hydrogen, right? And carbon fixation, right? And for that we are having National Green Hydrogen Mission and all. So that is because obviously in green hydrogen also the energy is coming from the sources which are renewable, so that we can link it. Okay. And conclusion, we can write it: by integrating clean technology and biotechnology, India can achieve energy independence by 2047. It will reduce import, mitigate climate risk because carbon emission will be less, sustainable, climate resilient, and inclusive energy ecosystem will be created, right? So this is how we can manage it. I know one thing, that if you have gone through the classes and all GS classes, then you have much more information than whatever I'm displaying over here. But here the limitation is you have to do it in 150 words, right? So that's the real challenge. So that is why point wise and concise way is very important. Heading, just one, two line, right? Now, let's move on to the next part. This is question number 15. And again, it's a very important question. I was very happy about it. How does nanotechnology offer significant advancements in the field of agriculture? How can this technology helps to uplift the socio-economic status of farmer? Right? So, this is again a very important area that we need to understand. And you know that in introduction, you can simply write that nanotechnology, where we manipulate the things in the size range of 1 to 100 nanometer to get the new and unique property so that we can use it in various way, that you can write and you know about it, right? And then we can also add one thing, that this nanotechnology can also be used in agriculture, and in agriculture it offers many things. Now we are coming to the advancements, and there you don't need to forget, right, that this agriculture biotechnology is a very upcoming area in India, because we are using nano fertilizers, and world's first nano urea liquid, world's first nano DAP liquid, that's already there in the Indian market. So that's one thing that might have triggered UPSC to get this question in the main paper 3. So advancement kya hai? So precision nutrition delivery, right? And that is what the nano fertilizer is, nano fertilizers and nano urea liquid by ICAR. And not only that, we can also add another example, but because obviously you have to pack it in a very small span of time and small word limit. So nano DAP we can write also. Then enhanced pest and disease management. Nano pesticides could be very, unique thing. That nano pesticide can have, right, target. It can be targeted. So only those pests will be targeted which pests are harming our crops. It won't kill the friendly pests, right? So that is how we can give the example of silver nanoparticles. Improve soil and water management, because we'll have nano sensor for soil monitoring to detect some kind of problem in the water. So nano sensors could be placed for the proper detection of soil and quality of water and everything, right? So these things we have already discussed. Post harvest preservation, nano packaging, that's a very important thing. Nano packaging, nano coating on the fruits, that will create a kind of, one such protective cover which will not allow this fruit to rotten so easily, right? Early detection and diagnosis. So nano sensors can detect the crop disease at early stage, right? Climate resilient farming. So we can, develop some way where we can have crop resistance to drought, salinity, extreme temperature, right? And that can be developed. Even there is nano biotechnology where we can make some genetic manipulation in the crop by using nanotechnology. We have talked about it. Now, this is very generic thing, socio-economic benefits for farmers. Very generic one thing. We know that. We know that what kind of benefit we are looking for in agriculture. We just need to align all this benefit with the help of nanotechnology. It's just like connecting nanotech with the agriculture benefits. And then once the agriculture sector is benefited, these are the obvious thing that the farmers would get, isn't it? So here, higher yield and reduced input cost, definitely, right? Because of all this technology, market competitiveness, because of longer shelf life, quality will improve, right? Risk mitigation would be there because early detection will help them to recover from the crop losses and income will be stabilized. Skill and technology adaptation. So that is also there because it will promote modernization and entrepreneurship, right? Employment generation because of nano-enabled agro industry will create opportunity in production, processing and maintenance and all, right? Sustainability and export potential. Definitely once you have surplus and better production, quality production, better shelf life, then what will happen? You will be reaching to the global market. है ना? Conclusion तो बहुत easy है. While nanotechnology hold immense potential and transform yield, reduce risk and improve income, its success hinges on ethical regulations, cost-effective innovation, and grassroots adaptation to make lab-to-land journey inclusive and impactful. It's a kind of, that you are giving a way forward, a little bit of suggestion that you can change, obviously. Conclusion, once you have gone through the entire topic, you have cleared prelims examination, and then you have gone to write the main examination, then you will have enough acumen to write your own way of the conclusion. है ना? चलो. Now, we are moving on to the, okay. This is something, because obviously in class we discuss a lot many things, but sometimes some questions are direct and we compel our student to practice it. So there was daily test, right? And in daily test, this was the question asked. The nanotechnology has emerged as frontier science with immense potential to revolutionize sector like agriculture and defense. Discuss key role of nanotechnology in these two sectors, right? So that was there. Now let's come to the next one. India aims to become a semiconductor manufacturing hub. What are the challenges faced by semiconductor industry in India? So one thing India aims to become. So that is India aims to become. Then second one is challenges, right? And there is something called Indian Semiconductor Mission, and we have to mention about it. So that's very clear question, right? Very clear. A little bit fact-oriented things you see, but evaluative at the same time, right? So very, I would say that very traditional way it is. So you know that semiconductors are very important. It's a backbone of electronics. From mobile phone to satellite, from pen drive to satellite, semiconductors are needed, right? And that is why we are going for it. So we can create an introduction on that way, right? Because once India will become semiconductor manufacturing hub, then it will reduce import dependency. Electronic supply chain would be better. It will support digital and economic growth. And we can also mention that market of this, right? And we can also talk about that where we are lacking, because our import of high-end chips are almost 100%, right? That is why domestic production become a little, imperative. So that is what in introduction part. But why? Why we are not able to develop India as a semiconductor manufacturing hub, right? So I would say the first thing, right? The first thing that should be there is complex supply chain. You know that lots many things are needed. So wafers, then lithography machines, gases, elements, these all things are needed. And for that, we have not developed any supply chain. Even if you want to develop semiconductor in India, you don't have a supply chain to supply the raw material to you. That's the problematic part. You got my point? But you can put it in a point manner, like high capital and technology requirements, right? And hatching period is a little more. So you have to put a lot of money, right? So $5 to $10 billion you have to put in at the initial way, and then only you can start it, right? Then skilled workforce shortage. Obviously, we could not develop India as a semiconductor manufacturing hub. So workforce has not yet developed properly. Now we are developing, but then if we compare with other country, then USA, Taiwan, South Korea, people who could be workforce, they also migrate to those countries because opportunities are there. And these are the hub. Second thing, complex supply chain, like I told you, that supply chain is so complex and not well developed in India. And that one of the major challenges that we are facing. Then one more thing, that it is energy and water intensity, right? Stable power you need, and you need a lot of water for fabrication part, and that you have to take care of it. Stable power supply and lots of water. So that is one thing that we need to keep it at the place. And global competition is very high because you are fighting with already mature ecosystems like Taiwan, South Korea and USA. And to compete with them, we have to go to that level only, right? That's right. Now, this question was very clean, very clear, and it was asking for salient feature of Indian Semiconductor Mission, ISM. So, under ISM, Government of India is promoting any company, any startup, any setup, any organization who are contributing in semiconductor development or semiconductor progression of India, and financial incentives up to 50% of the project cost, who supports in fabrication, assembly, testing and packaging units. Skill development and R&D that is being provided. Training institute and VLSI centers to develop talent and promote innovation that we are operating now. Ecosystem development, so that domestic supplier can get raw material, equipment, right, and components. So the entire ecosystem is being developed out there, right? And global collaboration, we are promoting them, tie up with the foreign countries and companies so that we can get the expertise and their help also. And we are focusing on to the self-reliance, right? So that we can get the electronic independence. That's the thing. So salient feature, if you go through the ISM, you can get all these things written out there. Conclusion, because obviously we have to conclude within the word limit only. So challenges are significant, we know that, right? But with the financial support, skill development and ecosystem promotion, we are going to win. So at the positive end, we can complete this, and obviously we'll make a robust framework to make India global competitive and self-reliant semiconductor hub. So it was a clean question. I would not say that it was something that we should be worried about. Many people are there online, right? So somebody is asking, where can we get this PDF? Once you write the simulator test, you will get the answer format. A detailed answer format will be there for you. Don't worry. Right. Now we'll move on to next one. Environment section. So I'll take care of environment section. Right. So this is question number 7. What is carbon capture, utilization and storage? CCUS. Very much in news. You know that. What the potential role of CCUS in tracking climate change? So carbon capture, utilization and storage. It's a very popular technology nowadays. Whenever we talk about climate talks, then it's there already. I won't say that it is something which is very new. No. So what is there? There are some industries which cannot be shifted totally onto the electricity and totally onto renewable energy, like cement, steel, fertilizers. There we need to burn something. And when you burn something, then carbon dioxide would come up. So before this carbon dioxide can go into the atmosphere, what we do? We capture it. We capture it, right? And sometimes we capture the atmospheric carbon dioxide also, which are already there more. And then after capturing it, we have two ways. First is we can utilize. We can convert this carbon dioxide into useful chemicals, fuels, building materials, right? So that is what. So synthetic fuel we can make out of carbon dioxide. We can convert this carbon dioxide into concrete or building materials. So that is called utilization. It's a part of circular economy, circle, right? And second one is storage. Third one is storage. And many a time what we do, this carbon dioxide is injected into deep geological formations. Zamin inside the land. So deep inside the land, such as depleted oil and gas reservoir, saline aquifers, there we put inside, right? And that is called storage. That is carbon sequestration, you must be knowing. Geological carbon sequestration, that's the same thing, right? Got the point? So here, what is carbon capture, utilization and storage? UPSC has asked separately carbon capture, utilization and storage. So you have to give it the points. When they are asking very clearly, you have to write it very clearly, but not too much of detail. Just explain what is capture, what is utilization and what is storage, right? Then potential role in tracking climate changes. Very clean, clear answer. So once you capture carbon or utilize carbon or store carbon, then what will happen? Emission reduction in those sectors where it is very difficult, like steel, cement, chemical industries, like I told you. Then we can also achieve negative emission. That means we can clear the atmosphere where already emission is there. So negative emission means that we can combine biomass energy and CCUS, that is carbon capture, utilization and storage, and we can remove it from the atmosphere. So once you remove the carbon dioxide which is already there in atmosphere, it's a kind of negative emission. Right? Support for clean energy transition, obviously, because we are now shifting towards renewable energy. But in this transition period, it's not like that we are totally jumping onto renewable one. It's a transitory period. So in transition period, obviously we cannot help, but we'll have to burn something which will emit carbon dioxide. So this technology will help you in this transition, right? And the last one is economic and industrial opportunity. So low carbon products, carbon credits, green jobs creation, carbon credit and all we know. And it will promote a very important terminology that we are using nowadays, circular carbon economy. Right. Somebody is asking, Mukesh Kumar, sir, are you covering all? No, I'll cover. I have already covered science and technology, covering this environment section, and Pratik sir would be there to cover economy, and then Nikhil sir will be there to cover the other area like internal security and disaster management. So conclusion, you can write it over there, right? So there we can mention this Paris Agreement, because net zero emission we have to achieve by 2070, and for that this carbon capture, utilization and storage could be a very important one. Hai na? Next one. Okay, there was a question also in PW question bank GS3. Critically analyze importance of Niti Aayog's recent policy framework on carbon capture, utilization and storage for climate adaptation and mitigation. So similar questions, and this is just one of the questions that we could recall in a very short time. Otherwise in classroom and other kind of thing, daily practice, we do discussing such questions. CCUS is not something which is, very unique. It's already there in talks all the time, right? Next, you can talk about next question, seawater intrusion. And now this is very ingenious one. Happy to see this question. I'm happy to see this question because this is something which you can think, and then we can create, you can form. Seawater intrusion in the coastal aquifers is a major concern in India. What are the causes of seawater intrusion and the remedial measures to combat this hazard? Easy one. Straight question, right? So India has got a very long coastline, right? And seawater, that is saline water, and they are moving in the landward way, and then it is merging into the freshwater aquifers, and it is creating some kind of threats to the drinking water, agriculture, irrigation, and ecosystem of Indian coastline that we know, right? क्या cause है? What are the causes out there? Right. So cause number one is over extraction of groundwater, because once you take a lot of groundwater, so once you take a lot of groundwater, you pump out a lot of groundwater, then it will start drawing seawater. Coastal belt of Tamil Nadu and Gujarat, we are experiencing it, because you create a void house there, and then this seawater can fill it up. Sea level rise and climate change. So once the sea level is rising, then it is pushing more saline water into the inland system. For example, Sundarban in West Bengal. Urbanization and industrialization. What does it do? It increases the demand. Right. So once demand would be there, then recharge area will be reduced. Your water recharge area will be reduced. And again, it will have its own implications. Seawater intrusion would be there. Groundwater management, we lack into that. Regulations are there, but monitoring is not very good. And that is why there is another thing. And like I told you, reduce recharge. Wetlands encroachment in the wetland. In the environment class, we always talk about wetland ecosystem is a very important ecosystem. It's a kind of buffer. But the way wetlands are depleting, it's creating problem. So that is one more thing we can add in. Remedial measure. So artificial recharge we can do. Construction of recharge wells and ponds we can develop. Like in Kerala we are having. Regulated groundwater withdrawal. So we can, implement some sustainable pumping limits, right? That this much water can be pumped per day, that's it. Saline barriers, we can make subsurface barriers, dams, intrusion blockages, right, to cut off this coastal water into this freshwater, inland freshwater. Integrated coastal zone management, it's already there, and it's something which balances development and groundwater protection. Afforestation and wetland restoration. That is also there. That if we maintain our wetland, and not only maintain, rather we go for the afforestation, then wetlands are very important. It's a buffer, it's a transitional ecosystem which will help to maintain the both side in a proper way, right? And conclusion, you can write it. Sustainable groundwater governance is needed. Climate resilient strategy is needed, that we know. So easy question, I would say. Now, there is another thing we can talk about. Examine the factor responsible for depleting groundwater. So this year, water, agriculture, these things was making entry, right? So examine the factors responsible for depleting groundwater in India. What are the steps taken by the government to mitigate such depletion of groundwater? So, straight question, factors responsible for depleting groundwater and steps taken, that's it. So, we recognized one issue, and the issue is groundwater depletion, and then we have to get two things, factors and steps. You understand? So that's the structure of the question, very easy one, not a problem. So we can start with the data that India has got 18% of the world's population, but only 4% of the freshwater resources, right? 60% of irrigation and 85% of rural drinking water, that is on groundwater only, right? And we are over exploiting this groundwater, and that is why we are under urgent need of conservation of it, right? So what are the factors? Here we are talking about factors. Now it's easy because groundwater is something that we normally talk about everywhere in a current development, in environment, in general, geography, everywhere we talk about it. So over extraction for agriculture, you know that. Tube wells are running. And why tube wells are running? Because the electricity that is coming for the tube well is at subsidized rate. So running, kept on running, right? Urbanization and industrialization. So a lot of pressure. And this urbanization and industrialization has reduced the recharge, right? Bangalore, Chennai, these all cities are now under water scarcity. Climate variability. So monsoon is erratic, dry spells, and then replenishment is not being done properly. Rajasthan and Gujarat is a victim, right? Inefficient irrigation practices. You know that. So monoculture crops, the crops which are, require a lot of water, so that is there, and pollution and contamination. Easy one. I would not say that it is something we should be having problem in enlisting all these things, right? Now, what are the government steps? Now, this is a tricky part because obviously you have to memorize, and obviously the people who have already cracked this prelims examination, they know it about. So, regulatory measures, restricting indiscrimination drilling, right? So, there are central groundwater guidelines in Punjab, and then recharge and conservation, rainwater harvesting we are promoting, check dams we are making, percolation tanks we are making, and Atal Bhujal Yojana, we can give example of it so that we can, do the proper recharge of the groundwater. Efficient irrigation practices. So drip and sprinkler irrigation, you know that how important it is that. Monitoring and data management. So mapping aquifers and tracking the water level would be also a very good idea. Community participation, obviously anything in environment you have to do with the community participation. then only you can get the desired impact. Jal Shakti Abhiyan is a very good example of it, right? Integrated water management, right? Because then we coordinate across the sectors, and for that National Aquifer Management Program or Bharat Jal, that is also there. Got it? Okay. Conclusion, we can write some of the government programs and we can create a kind of conclusion, just about 1 or 2 lines, because if such kind of things are there where the questions are very clear, factors and steps, then conclusion is also very easy. You don't need to be too innovative in the conclusion. Yes, your body, the answer's body should be very defined, because UPSC is asking very precise question. Very precise question. Groundwater, depletion, then factor responsible, and then steps taken. So when the questions are so clean, then your answer should also look very clean, right? In a stepwise, point-wise manner. Anyway, we'll move on to the next one. So this question was there in daily test, and the question was highlighting accelerating groundwater depletion in North India over past 70 years. Discuss the major factors responsible for this trend and examine its implication on India, water and food security. So one part pretty much we have discussed, right, in those things. Anyway, now we are coming to this question, and I think this is our last question. No. This is second last question, and then after all. Okay, so mineral resources are fundamental to the country's economy, and these are exploited by mining. Again, one statement. So this part is a statement, right? And this part we need to justify. This part can be rewritten as introductory part. Now, why is mineral considered an environmental hazard? Then explain the remedial measures required to reduce the environmental hazard due to mining. Clear? Mining, why mineral is important, why it is environmental hazard, and what is the remedial measure. Easy. So, like I told you, the statements can be used as introduction by rephrasing it. So mining forms the backbone of nation industrial and economic growth. However, it's unregulated and extensive operations have increasingly raised concerns, positioning it as a significant environmental hazard that demands urgent attention, right? That introduction you can make out of it. Now, if we go with the mining as environmental hazard, then land degradation and deforestation. Easy one. That is why the mining things are considered as very damaging one, right? Loss of biodiversity, because we destroy all these, green patches and all. Sand mining in Chambal River, then Gharyals, and other rivers, they are also posing danger to dolphin. Water pollution, that is another thing. So very easy one. It's not like something land degradation, loss of biodiversity, water pollution, right? Air pollution, dust and toxic emissions will degrade the air quality. Soil contamination, because leaching would be occurring. Along with the water, a lot of toxic substance might come into the soil, like bauxite mining in Odisha. Noise and vibration impact, that is also there. Easy one. I would not say that it was a tough question. Easy one. Remedial measure for environmental hazard reduction. There you have to show that what you have learned all through, right? Just a minute. So regulatory oversights. So strict enforcement should be done. Environmental Protection Act, right? And star rating of mines for green norms compliances, that is there. Then we can also adopt innovative mining strategy, scientific way to mine, plan, right? So we can go for that. Green rehabilitation measure. Afforestation must be done. Deforestation must be recompensated by afforestation, right? And ecological restoration. So already the things are going on. Inclusive community engagement, community participation, right? That should be there so that we can implement all this, afforestation and restoration kind of thing in a better way. Responsible closure framework, right? So environmental safeguards to restore ecosystem, that should be there. And because there is a variety of pollutions coming up, so advanced pollution management should be there, like dust separation system and the real-time pollution monitoring, leaching and all kind of thing. How can it be stopped? That we have to apply on that. So that is what the mineral resource kind of thing we can talk about, right? Now, we are coming to this last question. Okay, this was a kind of, particularly I was very happy about this review, write review, So this was this is some innovation that they are asking to write a review. And not only review, it's a very popular thing in climate change, but the way the question was asked was very good. Review on India's climate commitments under Paris Agreement 2015, COP21, right? Mention how these have been further strengthened in COP26. Panchamrit was given in that by PM Modi, you know that. And how has the first nationally determined contribution, NDCs, intended by India been updated in 2022. So they are asking a review by comparing these things, right? So comparing 2015, 21 and 22. Good one. Well played, UPSC. And that is why UPSC is UPSC, but it is doable, obviously. So Paris Agreement created global framework for climate action through voluntarily national determined contribution. In climate change, we discuss about it, right? So country would come, they would say that, okay, this much I would contribute to stop the rise in global temperature, right? Right. And it will also, right, based on the principle of equity and common but differentiated responsibility. Now, what India has committed in 2015, so that is all India has committed. Now, this is a long thing going to be. Equity driven targeted 33 to 35% reduction in emission intensity by 2030. Right. Renewable push pledged 40% installed capacity from non-fossil sources, right? Carbon sink creation, 2.5 to 3 billion tons carbon, right? Adaptation focus, emphasis on water, agriculture and disaster resilience, right? So India's NDCs was good one. Then this 2021 Glasgow COP26 Panchamrit pledge. So we raised our ambition, 500 gigawatt non-fossil energy capacity and 50% power needs from renewable 2030. Higher intensity cut 35 to 45%. Quantified emission reduction 1 billion ton cut by 2030. Net zero by 2070, everybody know about it, right? So that was the thing. So here we have made one, uh, chart also, and that can also be used. I mean, obviously, if you want to save your time in those kind of question, you have to go with this. So original 2015 NDCs, COP21, Paris Agreement, Glasgow, right? Okay, this is the updated one, right? So this is original one. Then in a Glasgow, we have, I mean, changed a little in the overall scenario, but in NDCs we have made changes, right? And these are the changes you can see. Updated 2022 NDCs, reduced by 45% by 2030. 50% cumulative installation capacity from non-fossil fuel, and it was similar to the earlier. So this two thing is varying out there, right? And then there was something related to that. Obviously, this came in between. So in COP 26 only, they talked about lifestyle for environment and so sectorial expansion, right? And then we can always, so this was a kind of review. It was a kind of good question, right? So that is about, because examiner wanted to, UPC want to know about India's commitment towards this pledge, towards this climate pledge, right? And they just want to see that how climate responsibility we are showing and how the things are going in, right? Okay. So similar kind of question we have asked here. Again in Srijan sectional test, right? Describe the major outcome on 29th session of Conference of the Parties COP of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. What are the key commitments, positions articulated by India in this conference? So that is what, right? So this was Panchamrit and all kind of thing was there, right? So 9 question altogether, 4 question from science and technology, and then 5 question from environment section. Then that was linked to, some of the questions were linked to agriculture. I would say that I'm particularly very happy with this all question, and because the questions was some question was too straight, some question review centric, some question evaluation centric, some question required some amount of data also, right? So now I'll sign off and Prateek sir will take over, and then you will continue with this discussion. Okay. If you have anything in your, yes, Manu, lots many things can be written, but the question is that you have to fit your answer in that time and word limit. That's the problem. So in the class, we talk even more. But that's not so easy. Here, when you are right there in the examination hall. Yes, critical thinking is very important, not only in mains, but also in prelims now, right? Last breath empire, why the uniform for PW is black? I don't know, maybe we are men in black and women in black also, right? Any question, if anything you want to know? So soon we'll start the other section. Meanwhile, if you have anything, you can ask. So like I told you that many of you have been saying that from where I can get this PDF. So for you, there is one announcement that I have done just before the start of this session, and I can tell you once again too. And what you can do, that you can appear in simulator test, that is free. In this test, what you can do, that you can write GS, all 4 paper of GS and the essay that has been asked by UPSC in 2025. So 5 simulator tests would be organized for you, and then it will be evaluated. Detailed evaluation will be done, and then you will get the comprehensive model answer. Right. Got the point? So not a big deal. Obviously, I would salute to your patient that you have been there with us, and this is nothing but a guideline that how UPSC is framing questions and how we have to tackle it. Like I always say in the class, that in class we cover a lot, and then we end up having a lots and lots of concepts and information and knowledge. But in main examination, you have to make it a very concise, point wise flow chart and all kind of thing. COP, Abhijit Kumar is asking how we tackle our commitments in COP. That is a separate thing. COP is something that is already happening every year, and then we keep eye on that. And if you start, indulging into the COP meetings, you will understand that what India is committing, how this commitment is influencing India's plans and policies, and what would happen next. आगे क्या होगा, ये भी क्लियर हो जाता है. Sonu is asking, sir, how to clear 2026 prelims. Sonu, there is only one way, that you have to study, right? So history, geography, polity, economy, science and environment. 6 subjects are there, and then you start reading it. Just take help of the YouTube videos, try to understand each and every subject's requirement, select good source for it in the form of notes, books, guides, start going through it, try to cover all relevant chapters, keep looking into the past year question paper of last 10 to 15 years, and then you will have a roadmap to it. We also offer lots many YouTube assistance, so you can always like the channels, you can look into the resources which are available on a public platform, you can get that. Right? Somebody is asking that my background was Hindi medium, now I want to convert in English medium. Yes, you can always convert. What's the big deal? क्या दिक्कत है? I mean, if you have written these 2-3 lines in English, you are already converted. Not a problem. Go with it. SKS Kumar, go with it. Right? Okay, any more question? Yes, you can ask if you want to ask anything. I'm a student of Sankalp 2.0 225. I'm facing hurdle in organizing my notes and maintaining continuity. Continuity is the key. Just remember one thing. Discipline and continuity. There is no other way. So, yes, you can use ChatGPT, but be very, careful when you use any resources. ऐसे के लिए टिप्स दे दीजिए, फिलोसफी ऐसे ज़्यादा आ रहा है. Okay, so essay, if you read all part of the GS in a proper way, so first thing that you should do, that you should have a very good grasp on GS, and once you have good grasp of GS, then only you can get that. So first thing is not essay, first thing is GS. Okay, so like I told you, continuity is the key. You have to be best way of learning current affair is newspaper. Read newspaper on a daily basis. Make a habit of reading newspaper. Although there is a lot of resources available, if you go to the channels, you can get the current affair, daily current affair updates. That is also good. But reading newspaper by your own is something which is very, very important. Revision strategy. 30% time should be given to revision. If you are not revising anything, it means that you are not doing right thing. Revision is must. Because if you don't revise, you will start forgetting things that you have learned. So basically, what is happening? You are right on to that part. There is no development, right? There is no development. Any more question? ARC is a good help, right? But mandatory word we cannot use, right? Anyway, so now sir will take over and you will have your discussion of economy, and there are questions from economy, very important area that you have to cover. So thank you from my side. Thank you for being there. Sir would take over within 1 or 2 minutes.
Hello, hello, hello. Am I audible to everyone? Yes, good evening. So, how was the paper? Yes, please. How was the paper? So, I really hope you had a good discussion about the science and technology, and now we are going to discuss about the economics section, the most dynamic, the most difficult, and the most favorite subject of my students. Yes, good evening, everyone. You know, there is a one thing about any subject when you see the paper. Like I would say, analyzing the paper is the most easiest thing. What do you say? Analyzing the paper is the most easiest way. Why? Because easiest thing because once you have the question paper in your hand and you're sitting at home, and when you read the questions, you feel like these are very simple. I can attempt. Okay, so I was talking to my students, who are on my Telegram channel. So when I was talking to them and I'm telling you that how was your paper, that did you like the question, how was it? So they said, sir, the questions were very easy. But the point is looking at the questions difficulty while sitting at home and you have the paper in your hand when you're not supposed to attempt it, you will feel like it's very easy. But in the examination hall, when it's going to make my career if I will be able to kind of solve it or not, and what kind of answer I'm writing, then seriously I'm telling you, you feel really nervous, you have a lot of anxiety, and like every word you're writing, it is going to make a career. So the point is what? It's not about only that I need to solve the question while sitting at home. The point is what? Reaching to the level like clearing the prelims examination, reaching to the mains examination is a most important thing. So let me come to my questions. Like first of all, I'll tell you about the economics part. Sir has already told you that in the GS paper 3 we have different questions. So like in 2000, so you have the analysis from 2019 till 2025, and as you can see, the economics paper were having 10 questions, then 8, then 8, then 8, and this year we have around 7 questions. But let me tell you one thing. Like it's not about that we have only 7 questions this year, from the topic of economics. Let me tell you very clearly. Let me just bring the economics question. Yeah, this is the economics part. Like first of all, if I'll tell you, let me make it little, is it visible or not? No, it's not properly visible. Let me make it little dim here. I hope it is fine now. Yes. Is it clear or not? Let me just check the quality because there is a problem of some light here, because if I will make it complete brighter, then you will not be able to see what is written over here. So let me make it little dim. I think it's slightly better. So just a little bit more. I think this much is fine. But now you have a flickering thing. I think it's better comparatively. Yes. But if I'll make it more low, then there is a little bit of flickering thing you people will see. But I think it is comparatively better. I hope it is fine now. You can see the questions. Yes. Abhishek is saying it's fine. See, first of all, I want to tell you one thing. This year in GS paper 3, we have 4 questions of 10 marks. Okay, we have 4 questions of 10 marks, 3 questions of 15 marks. So that makes around 40 plus 45. That means 85 marks of questions you have from economics in GS paper 3. That is the first thing. Then second thing is that in the paper number 2, you will be surprised to know that in the paper number 2, we have 2 questions. We have 2 questions of 15 marks. One is about the paradox of poverty that we people are discussing in the class of poverty and employment. And the second question is about the development process. So where you talk about the inequality and the other part, So that is also a question that we people are discussing in topic of GDP when we're discussing about the growth and development. So around 30 marks of questions you have in paper number 2. Imagine 30 marks of questions you have in paper number 2. And from a very simple topic called poverty, and the second is inclusive growth and development that we are discussing as a part of GDP topic I just said. So you need to add 30 more here. And the best part that I really loved about UPSC this time is what? That you have 2 questions in ethics paper also. You have 2 questions in ethics paper also. Like one question is about the growth of industrial sector and the agriculture sector, because you know that in case of our country, the maximum share of GDP is being coming from service sector. So they asked about that India is the 4th largest economy now, and to become the 3rd largest economy at a global level, we need to work on our agriculture sector and moreover on our industrial sector. That's why Make in India is in news. So one question of 10 marks there, and there is one more question of around 20 marks about MG Narega case study. So that means 30 marks of questions you have in ethics paper this time from economics section. Because unless until you're not aware about the MG Narega, its working, its muster role, the corruption that we're discussing in the class of poverty and employment, about the MG Narega's role in case of our country, then certainly you will be able to answer that thing. Sometimes people really say, sir, why you are being stressing so much on MG Narega in the classroom, and why you're being giving around 15-20 minutes to discuss just one scheme? The reason is it is providing huge amount of employment opportunity to thousands and thousands and lakhs and crores of people in case of our country, and that scheme is also being acclaimed by World Bank that it is the highest employment generation scheme at a global level, but we have certain loopholes in that. Okay, so that loopholes have been asked by UPSC in the ethics paper for 20 marks. Imagine 20 marks. So 30 marks you have questions in ethics paper, so that means if you add 30 more here, so that will take economics section a weightage of 145. 145 in paper number 2, 3 and 4, because economics is everywhere. So when we're discussing in the class, I'm telling you the moment you wake up in the morning and the time you're going to your bed in the night, economics you are experiencing at every aspect of life. You getting what I'm saying? So that is the point. You have the relevance of economics in your life at every point, or every moment you have economics around you. So that's why UPSC is being asking in paper number 2, paper number 3 and paper number 4 also. So imagine out of 1000 marks of 4 papers, 14.5% is being coming from one subject alone. One subject. And that too very easy if you have a kind of a hold over it. So this is the importance of economics in the UPSC mains examination and prelims also. Okay, so I would say just a by chance that UPSC is not asking the topics of economics in the essay topic, I would say, but few years back they used to ask essay topic also from economics section. Okay, so one thing is what economics is something which is in paper number 2, 3 and 4 everywhere. Now let me come to the questions first of all. So the first question asked by UPSC is what? Distinguish between the Human Development Index and the Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index with special reference to India. Why is the IHDI considered a better indicator of inclusive growth? You won't believe we are discussing this topic of inclusive growth in the topic of growth and development in our classroom for almost 1.5 hours. When I'm telling everything about that, what kind of problem we have in the GDP as a concept, then what is the real development in the economy, what is the difference between growth and development, why the Human Development Index, then there's so many other index like Legatum Prosperity Index, Social Progress Index, so many indexes we have in the at a global level that we need to understand. So the same thing has been pointed out UPSC this time, that they asked about that inequality adjusted human development index, because inequality is quite high, because at a multiple point of time Oxfam International has provided multiple reports where they are saying that almost 40% of the wealth in case of our country is being held by 1% top population of our country. So that leads to a lot of inequality. I really don't know the recent report given by the World Bank where they're saying that the inequality has been going down in case of our country. I don't know from what all sources they have taken the data, but the point is what? Inequality is rising. And you people must have experienced it around you. That those who are rich, they're getting more richer, and those who are poor, they're getting even more poorer. The wealth of the rich people in case of our country has been increased many-fold during the COVID-19 pandemic, because that time poor person was sitting at home and the rich people were having their work on and they were earning. Okay. So this question has been asked by UPSC regarding the difference, between the Human Development Index and the Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index, with special reference to the, the inclusive growth. So what is being provided? Adjust Human Development Index by accounting for inequalities on health, education and income, distribution of achievements across the population, captures social and economic inequalities, focus on distribution, access gaps and quality within the group. Now, one thing. I'm pretty sure a lot of people who have attempted the paper today, I'm telling you, whatever number of students I just interacted, 90% of them have said ki sir, we hardly heard about Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index. We are aware about the HDI, but we are not aware about this Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index. So the question is what? In this kind of question, how we can attempt? See, it's very simple. As soon as it becomes inequality, inequality is about what? It's also about the income distribution. It's about the job creation. It's about the health care access. It's about the good quality education. Getting what I'm saying? So when you know all these things about, then certainly, even if you're not completely aware about that what exactly this index is, then still you will be able to answer this question. Okay, because do remember, you need to write in 150 words. So it's not like that you have to define these indexes, because what they provided, you need to distinguish between these two. So if you know SDI, what kind of indicators are being taken into account to provide the definition of SDI by the United Nations, then certainly as soon as you have the word inequality attached to it, you will be able to provide the answer. Are you getting what I am saying? So Human Development Index is about what? That you talk about the development of human beings. Like for example, development aspect is what? Let me tell you. It measures average human development without considering inequality. It's a national average, ignores disparity, focus on expanding services and income. Now, let me show you. It captures disparities. They're talking about the IHDI, but the point is what? What about the, Human Development Index, where they're talking about certain indicators, like about, you talk about the healthcare, education, year of schooling, like these kind of things are being taken into account. So, when you add the word inequality, you will be able to provide. So what they provided reflects gender, regional and income inequalities in India. Lower female literacy in Bihar, UP, reduce IHDI, guides in equitable policy, helps identify which groups lag behind and require targeted intervention. True measures of human development adjusting for inequality shows real well-being rather than average. See, these points are something which we know now. We have these points. Now the question is what? How you can, I would say, play smartly in the mains examination hall. As I just said, if you're not exactly aware about that what all things we have as a part of IHDI, like let me tell you, what all factors are being taken into account in the SDI, because this is something which people are being studying all the time. Like what they're saying, when it comes to the Human Development Index, they are having certain points. Like first of all, long and healthy life, then second, knowledge, and third is what? A decent standard of living. These kind of factors are being taken into account when it comes to providing the HDI that we people are normally reading. Okay. So as you can see here, they are talking about the very few factors which normally people are being aware about. What are these? Long and healthy life, life expectancy at birth, life expectancy index, then you have expected year of schooling, then mean year of schooling, then you have GNI per capita. These kind of factors have been taken into account in the HDI. So HDI is something which is being read by everyone, but IHDI, which is hardly being known to the people, I'm telling you. So if you're aware about the HDI, then certainly you can simply play with this question in the examination hall. Getting what I'm saying? So it's not like this question is cannot be attempted if you're not aware about the IHDI. Because if you know about SDI, then certainly as soon as you will add the word inequality, you will be able to answer. But the point is what? You will be able to make your answer good by adding certain facts. Like I just mentioned about the Oxfam report, like as you know about, the kind of jobless growth we are having, as you know, the kind of income inequality we have in case of our country, as you know, the kind of minimum wage we have in case of our country. Okay. So these points you can highlight and support your argument here. Getting? So this is the first question, which I would say is comparatively very easy. Now, second question. What are the challenges before the Indian economy when the world is moving away from the free trade and multilateralism to protectionism and bilateralism? How can these challenges be met? That is a question of 10 marks and that is for 150 marks. Now, let me tell you about this particular question. See, first of all, this question is really interesting. And I'm telling you, writing answer for this question in 150 words, it's not an easy task at all. It's a very, very challenging question, I would say. Why? See this question carefully, what they're saying. What are the challenges before the Indian economy when the world is moving away from free trade and multilateralism to protectionism and bilateralism? Okay, so first of all, challenges part need to be highlighted. And then second part they are saying, how can these challenges be met? So first of all, you need to provide about the challenges and the second is how these can be met. Now, let me tell you, there are two ways to answer this question. In two ways you can answer this question. That first of all, write down the challenges and then provide the solution and then write down the conclusion. That is what normally people do. They're writing the challenges, they're providing the solution, and then they're writing the conclusion. The second way by which you can save lot of words is what? Write the challenge, provide the solution simultaneously. Okay, because when you write the challenge and you provide the solution simultaneously in the same paragraph, then you will be able to save lot of words. Because in the first point, you know what I said, you write the challenges and then you write the solution. So when you write the solution, you keep on repeating the same words. Are you getting? You keep on repeating the same words. So what is the better way? Challenge, solution, challenge, solution. And then in the end, you can simply write down the conclusion. Getting? Now the point is what? If you are aware about the meanings of the word multilateral, in Hindi it is known as a bahudeshiya. So in a one particular trade agreement, you have multiple countries. Second, protectionism, that instead of going for import and export, you are trying to follow the policies like, that you've been trying to follow the policy by which you have been trying to increase your export and you are simply going for the policy of import substitution, by which you will be able to go for the protectionism. And then you have a bilateralism, means that instead of connecting the dots with all the country as you do in the WTO, what you're trying to do, you have been trying to connect with few countries of your choice. Like I like Russia, I will, join Russia. I like Japan, I will join with Japan. I like China, so I will simply join with the China. Getting what I'm saying? So in a way, instead of following the free trade that was provided by the WTO at a global level, like the multilateral agreement, what do you want? You are actually looking for kind of a few friends for a better trade agreement instead of having a lot of disputes and because WTO is not working properly for the last few years. Because as you know, that Doha round of negotiation is not being implemented for the last how many years? For the almost 24 years, the Doha development round of WTO is not being implemented. So the point is very simple. Countries are frustrated that they're not being able to go for the multilateral agreement and I'm telling you, whatever points was given in the WTO agreements that the developed country have to implement in 2 years, developing country need to implement in 10 years, and they need to implement in more than 10 years, whatever be the the guidelines given by the WTO. No country is being able to comply with that. So that increased the more frustrations, like whatever is being happening currently in the Trump administration. What he's saying, that we have been providing a lot of concession for the developing country for so many years. So since 1995, when the WTO came into existence, they've been providing all the free, like the duty-free, quota-free access to Indian agricultural products, to the cotton product and the other. But they are not getting in return. That means the principle of reciprocity is not being followed over there. So they are like, when we are providing, why not we are being getting here? So like you must have seen the discussion currently in the newspaper that whatever is being done by, USA is being wrong, and whatever is being done by Trump by providing extra tariff is completely wrong. Think in this way when you think that if Indian government will also reduce the tariffs, then certainly we people will be able to, have access to the world-class goods at a comparatively lower price. That is going to help a lot. That is going to help a lot in this way. So point is what here? They are saying that what are the challenges before the Indian economy when the world is moving away from free trade and multilateralism to protectionism and bilateralism. So here the biggest challenge is what? Will we be able to get the quality goods from few countries to whom we are going to make friend? That is the first point. We can get cheaper oil from Russia, but can we get the best IT product from Russia? Think about it. Are you getting? We can get lot of good IT products from Japan, but can we get the agricultural products from Japan? Think about it. Are you getting? So point is what? Every country is good in something, not in everything. So what point you need to highlight here? That with this kind of, challenges Indian economy is being facing, so in certain things we people will be able to gain, and in certain things we people are going to lose. And wherever we are going to lose, who will suffer ultimately? Consumers will suffer. That is the biggest challenge. Are you getting what I'm saying? So the point is what? In the first part, you need to highlight why these things are basically happening and what kind of challenges we going to face in this case. Getting? So this is the first part. And second is what? How can these challenges be met? It's very simple. Try to resolve the issues. Instead of going for reciprocal tariff, like so whatever is being applied by USA, instead of saying that we people are going to have a friendship with Russia, we're going to have a friendship with China, we're going to have friendship with Japan and the other, don't forget that US and these European countries are the largest countries at a global level and the most innovative also. If they are going to lose, then we are also going to lose. So how these challenges can be met? That first of all, in this case, you have to make your economy strong inside. Like you have to have a good amount of investment on education so that you will be able to get a educated workforce. You need to have a good amount of investment on the skills so that you will have a good and skilled workforce. You getting what I'm saying? You need to reform your tax laws also so that people who are earning good amount of money, they want felt in this way that whatever amount of money we are going to giving to the government is not utilizing for the betterment of our country and to achieve the goal of 2047 of a developed India. Getting what I'm saying? As you know that in the recent time, a lot of people have been leaving India because they feel that whatever we have been giving as a tax to the government, they're not getting in return out of it. So how these challenges can be met? When you make the economy so strong, make the economy so strong that people will not even feel that I want to go outside. Why we are being spending a lot of money, for an education when we can have a best quality education in case of our country? Think about it. So these challenges can be met when you make the economy strong. So think about it. If no country will provide the IT product, but we are being so strong that we can make it here, we say, okay, fine. So why our bargaining power can be strengthened, can be increased only when we are strong inside. Are you getting? So in this particular question, you need to highlight that part. Are you getting? So this question, I would say, is something which we are discussing in the WTO topic everywhere, and I'm highlighting everything. This is what you need to, So the point is what? You will not get these kind of straight away question in our classroom discussion, but the point is what? With our discussion, if you're listening and if you're reading the newspaper, then certainly you will be able to answer this question in a very good way. So this is a straight question, very simple question, I would say. Now let me move to the next question, which is even more interesting, I would say. Next question is what? Yes. Explain the factors influencing the decisions of the farmers on the selection of high value crops in India. See, as soon as we people are discussing about the agriculture, the topic in our classroom, and we're discussing about the MSP. Okay. So you know this thing, every year before sowing of seed, Government of India is announcing what? MSP. And Government of India has been keeping in mind that which all crops need to be provided comparatively high value in comparison to other, so that farmer will simply grow these only. Are you getting? So MSP is one of the biggest factor, I would say, that is influencing the decisions of the farmers in case of our country, that you need to move to the high value crops here. So what they're writing, high value crops such as fruits, vegetables, spices, flowers, medicinal plants contribute significantly to farmers' income, employment and export. Farmers' decision to shift toward depends on various factors like economic factors, social cultural factor, environmental resource factors, political government factors and the other. But the point is what, can we write all these things in the in the examination? Obviously not. We cannot write so many points, and even in the examination hall these points will not come to your mind. So point is what, in 150 words, which point I need to highlight first of all? That you can simply say whatever initiatives are being taken by the government, for example, the MSP. The second part, whatever missions which is being started by the government. Whatever missions, like as you know, we have a technology mission started by Government of India for different things. We have also so many schemes, like as you know, that we have a scheme called this PM Asha, where the government is talking about that if you're not being able to get the MSP in the market, then you people will be able to simply go to the private market and sell it, and the government will give you difference. The private procurement scheme is there. So in a way, it's not like that you will be able to recall all this point and then I can write all these things. But the point is what you can mention. Certain most important schemes and the initiatives and policies provided by the Government of India that is basically impacting your decision. Like as you know, this PM Asha has been covering what? PM Asha has been covering about the oil seeds and moreover your pulses part, where the NAFID is involved, where you have the the NAFID is involved over here. So in a way, you have a particular body also who is there to buy the crop. Then you have the other point. Are you getting? So do remember, in the mains examination for such kind of question, it's not like that I need to provide some sort of introduction here. From the very first line, you need to start targeting the question. Like for example, if I need to write the answer of this particular question, I would simply say there are so many initiatives and schemes and policies are being initiated by Government of India which are impacting the farmer's decision to go for a particular crop. And then I write simply, for example, point number 1, PM Asha is influencing the, this particular, the oil seeds and the pulses. Then I would say the MSP is being influencing for the purpose of, let's suppose, the wheat and rice. Then I would say for the purpose of the various mission initiated by Government of India is influencing this particular thing on that particular thing. Are you getting? So this is what you need to write. So it's not like here I need to provide some sort of suggestions and the other. Simply I need to provide that particular, like what they're providing, policy and institutional factors, government and scheme, export incentive, extension service. So this is, I would say, the most important part that you need to highlight in 150 words. So if you do it, certainly I am telling you, you will be able to get at least more than 50% marks in this question. Getting? So do remember, the most important point you need to highlight in the first sentence, so the examiner will be really happy. See, the students is aware about it. So I will simply, give him good marks. Getting? Otherwise, as I told you, providing the points after the examination hall and the paper is in your hand is comparatively easy. But there, what you will be able to recall, the important schemes that you prepared, that you will simply highlight first of all. Getting what I'm saying? So this is the point. Now let me come to the next question. Elaborate the scope and significance of supply chain management of agricultural commodities in India. Elaborate the scope and significance of supply chain management of agricultural commodities in India. Now see, this particular question, I would say when it comes to answering such kind of question, how I can start. Now the point is what? In my classes, I'm discussing about, this food processing industry in the classroom. Okay. And when I'm discussing about the topic of this food processing industry in the classroom, I'm not discussing a lot of things. Like for example, I'm discussing about what is the meaning of food processing. Then I'm discussing about the types of food processing industry, primary, secondary, and tertiary. And then I'm discussing about supply chain management. And then I am coming to the problems. Like for example, when I'm discussing this topic in the classroom, there are certain points and facts I'm highlighting. And let me tell you these facts, and you people will get to know about this also here only. Let me tell you. So in my just recent batch and the last batch, I am providing these points. Let me come and let me find out. Yes. The very first point that I'm telling in the classroom is what? Indian households waste approximately 55 kilogram of food per person annually, totaling around 78.2 million tons each year. The wastage accounts for about 22% of country's food grain output. That is the first point I'm providing as a fact. The second, over 30 to 40% of fruits and vegetables go waste due to improper storage conditions. The second point I'm providing, if any of my student is watching this video, please highlight that I have mentioned these points in the classroom. Around 15 to 20% of food loss occurs due to poor roads, delays, and lack of proper transport. Now, what is supply chain? And moreover, the economic cost also, the total food wasted cost estimated in case of our country is 92,000 crore rupees. That is all points I'm providing. Now, let me connect these points with this particular question. Elaborate the scope and significance of supply chain management of agricultural commodities in India. As soon as you will write in the very first point the definition of supply chain, and then you will simply mention these points that why supply chain management is being so important and so significant in case of our country, because we people are being wasting around 92,000 crore rupees worth of various fruits and vegetables. And then we are also providing that 15 to 20% of food loss occurs due to poor roads, because supply chain, under that you have transportation facilities also, storage facilities also. These all things are being included in the food processing industry as a part of supply chain management. So when you have the roads, when you have the delays, when you have the transportation, when you have the storage problem and the other, you have all the issues. Getting what I'm saying? So this particular question, when you simply support in your answer with these points, why this is significant, see, writing in this way, this supply chain is very significant because we need to have a proper storage, this and that. That is a very simple answer. But when you simply support your point with these facts, I'm telling you, your answer will be superb. And one thing I want to mention here, when the students are being always asking me, sir, do I need to mug up these number? Do I need to mug up this number? No, you're not supposed to mug up this number. You need to revise these topics multiple times so that these points will go to your mind and somewhere they are being stored as as something is being stored in the hard disk. So as soon as you will attempt the paper and you will start recalling, sir, this is what the sir was saying, then you will be able to write these points. So this question, I would say, is being straight away coming from our class discussion. I would say out of 4 10 marks question, the very first question IHDI, which I didn't discuss in the class, but the question number 2, 3 and 4 are being totally direct, which can be easily answered. The people are being asking this, sir, do I need to read this book? Sir, do I need to read that book? Sir, do I need to, read this newspaper? Do I need to see these videos online every day? No. Have faith in your faculty. Listen to them. And the one, golden rule of understanding economics is what? You need to be regular to your classes. If you are, then you will do really well. You must have seen in the last 7-8 years, the toppers are scoring least in the GS paper 3. They are scoring in double digit. The reason is what? They are not applying their mind. And they're not listening, and they have been following multiple sources. Getting? So focus and just do your class properly. and you will certainly do good. Okay. Now let me come to the next question. Now, if you see what has been given as a part of model answer also. Agriculture contributes nearly 18% of GDP, half of the population. Post-harvest losses around 1.5 lakh crore annually, underscore the need for robust supply chain management. The same point. Cold chain and value addition, government support is expanding cold storage, pack houses, digital training across Monday, infrastructure for the first and last mile. The same thing is being mentioned here. There's nothing new. Okay. Now, let me come to the next question, and that is what? Explain how the fiscal health index can be used as a tool for assessing the fiscal performance of states in India. In what way would it encourage the states to adopt prudent and sustainable fiscal policy? So, as you know, this index is a initiative of Niti Aayog and Odisha. Odisha, you know Odisha? Odisha are wonderful states in our country. So, Odisha is the state which is performing the best in this index. Now, the question is what? Is it what? We have not discussed in the class, but the point is what? If you see in this fiscal health index, what kind of points have been taken into account by the Niti Aayog? Fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, kind of borrowings you have, all these points have been taken into account. So, it's very simple question. Very simple. So, if you have been referring the newspaper, current affairs regularly, then I'm telling you, UPSC have given you a very simple question. But the point is what? What exactly they're asking? Explain how fiscal health index can be used as a tool for assessing the fiscal performance of states in India. If you people are aware, we people are discussing in the class called FRBM Act all the time. Okay. First of all, you can mention that yes, this index is wonderful. Obviously, if the government is providing it, you have to write it. This index is wonderful. That we have to be, on our toes when it comes to managing the fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, borrowings, whatever is being part of this index, you need to mention. Secondly, in what way would it encourage the states to adopt prudent and sustainable fiscal policy? The point is what? If you have some sort of gains or kind of incentives have been provided by the government of India, that if you adopt this, if you reach to this level, then we are going to provide you some sort of incentives and the other, then certainly states would be encouraged here. Otherwise, for the sake of development and the other, that is what they provide. Now see, let me tell you one thing. In this question, one thing that you have to keep in mind, and that is what? This question is going to provide you very good marks if you are going to write a very solid conclusion here. What you need to write in the conclusion? That whatever we have as a part of this index, it's a wonderful thing as a part of Niti Aayog. Whatever incentive which is being given by government of India to reach to these levels is a wonderful thing. But are states really serious about it? That is a question you need to ask in your answer itself. And then what you need to write? Because in our country, we have seen the central government also brought a law to provide a fiscal discipline in the name of FRBM Act 2003, whose targets were supposed to be reached in 2008-9. But still these targets are never being achieved, and the government is simply used these act as a football that every time they've been simply kicking it and then providing a new date to achieve the targets. So the point is what? Unless until you will not provide a kind of a mechanism of proper accountability. Accountability means what? That if you're not following, if you're not being able to achieve, then we have to provide some sort of action against you. Then only after that, this kind of index and the other things will be able to make the fiscal health of states better. Are you getting? So in this question, if you're only writing about this is the index, that is the index, and how we can encourage and the other, if you only write this, I'm telling you, you will not be able to get good marks. The most important part of this answer is about what? The conclusion part that you need to use. And I'm telling you, there is no best answer in UPSC Mains. every answer is having its own beauty, which is being written by a student. The only point that you need to keep in mind is what? That you need to defend your point with the proper facts, with the proper argument, and the logical way of presentation. Then certainly you will be able to get good marks. Are you getting? So what is being given here? That you have the fiscal performance across revenue, expenditure, debt, and deficit indicator that I just told you. It provides a benchmark for interstate comparison and guides policy towards fiscal sustainability, comparative ranking, multidimensional assessment, early warning system, evidence-based policy, transparency and accountability. All these things are being provided. Getting? So, point is what? You need to be a little critical in this question. If you are, then certainly you will be able to do good in this question for sure. Are you getting what I am saying? That is the point. So, let me come to the next question. So, it's comparatively easy, simple, or easy to answer in the examination. Now, the question that I was expecting for the last 4 years. I was expecting this question for the last 4 years, and that is what? Discuss the rationale of production linked incentive scheme. What is the rationale? To promote Make in India. To promote Make in India. To promote import substitution policy. To promote less, your dependence on the foreign market product. These kind of points you need to mention as a part of rationale. Simple. Rationale means what? Why we want to bring this policy in case of our country. The main rationale is what? That we want to make India self-reliant. जैसे बोलते हैं ना, आत्मनिर्भर बनाना है हमें. We want to make India आत्मनिर्भर. That's why this particular scheme has been started by Government of India here. So discuss the rationale of production linked incentives. Do remember, you're not supposed to mention here about what is production linked scheme here. You're not supposed to provide here what is the, how this production linked incentive scheme was, in which year it was started, what all sectors are being covered and the other. They're asking about rationale. You need to about why this particular scheme has been started by Government of India. Okay, now see the next point. What are his achievements? You can mention like about the mobile phone, iPhone, which is being made in a Bangalore factory, as you know. Then you have all the Chinese phones like OnePlus. Then you have Samsung, LG, and the other. These are all being made where? In the Noida area. If we talk about the LCD TV, LED TV, and the other, these are all being made in India currently. Why? Because of this particular scheme, the incentive has been given by Government of India. If you reach to this particular level, you will be able to get this much amount of incentive from the Government of India. So you can mention. Then about the solar panels, now in so many years, Government of India has keep on, expanding the ambit of this particular scheme. So you can mention about that India was country which was importing majority of the phone from outside for the customer. Now they have been basically making it here only. So that is the achievement you need to mention. And then after that, in what way can the functioning and outcomes of the scheme can be improved? That means we have a scope of improvement. Are you getting? We have a scope of improvement. Now, let me come to the most important point that you mentioned multiple questions here. How the functioning of the scheme can be improved if you are going to have a educated workforce, if you are going to have a very skilled workforce, if you have a labor laws which are being provided by Government of India, which will provide a fine balance between the rights of employer and employees both. Because this thing in case of our country, when it comes to hiring people and when it comes to firing people, how difficult it is as per the various laws which are being given by the government. So it's not like that you have to provide some sort of technical points or some kind of technical analysis here. It's something which is being very general. So 3 things you need to write about: the rationale, the second, achievement, and in what way can the functioning outcome of the scheme can be improved. So imagine if you're starting in this way, the line of the very first line of the answer of a question in the mains examination paper: to make India self-reliant. The biggest rationale behind initiating the PLI scheme. Getting what I am saying? To make India completely dependent on its own manufacturing unit for the purpose of providing various goods to the people of our country, the second most important rationale behind this particular scheme. Are you getting? Simple. So you need to be aggressive. So like imagine when I'm saying in this way, you people are finding me that I'm aggressive while saying this. I'm telling you, when you write examiner, when they will read it, they will also find he's been very aggressive in terms of writing the answer. That shows the kind of a, the kind of desh bhakti you have in your mind while writing the answer. Think about it. Because the way you're writing, it reflects your personality. It reflects your motivation. It reflects your, kind of passion to join the civil services. So that's why I always say to the student that you need to be passionate about writing. You need to write the answer in such a way that you will feel like that, no, it's not only writing. Every word of my mind which I'm writing in the paper is basically giving a story behind my thinking and my passion to join civil services. Then you will be able to get very good marks, I'm telling you. And scoring 50% in each and every question is not a difficult job if you have a way to write, if you have a way to present. Getting? So that is the next question we have in case of, the mains examination. Then we have one more question asked by UPSC in the mains examination this year. So that was given in the region Likho Live, Economic Development, and the other we have. Evaluate the impact of PLI scheme on India's manufacturing sector. How can its scope can be expanded and achieve inclusive growth? That was a 10 marks question now. Srijan Live, program. Now let me come to the last question. Examine the scope of food processing industry in India. Elaborate the measures taken by the government in the food processing industry for generating employment opportunities. A kind of a simple point is being given by the question. Spiritual sound with SP Shivam Pandey. Good evening, sir. Good evening. Harsh Agrawal. Sir, paper देख के डर लग रहा है. अरे डर के आगे जीत है मेरे लाल. Mokshi, yes, sir. अब डर लग रहा है. अरे डर क्यों लग रहा है नंदनी? Why you are being afraid? See, Dar is good when you're sitting in the examination hall, and that too only for first 3-4 minutes when you're reading the question paper. After this, you should control your fear, your anxiety, and then after that, with the cool mind, you need to initiate or you need to start writing your answer. Then only after that, you will be able to do good. That's why, in our various programs like Srijan, the test series that we have, if you're doing these practices in an examination hall like condition, then writing this paper in the mixed examination is not going to be very difficult. Sir, seeing you live after a long time, sir, notes से solve हो रहे हैं 45 marks का. बेटा notes से तो almost सारा ही solve हो रहा है. So I got one of the reply from the student immediately after GS paper 3, and he write me on Telegram कि sir, I attempted all the questions, and I'm telling you from the notes and your book, I've been able to do everything. See, it's very simple. If you are being, simply following the classes and referring the UPSC wala book or whatever, PW book we have, PW OnlyIAS, or the Udan booklet you have, if you do it, you will certainly able to answer the question. Getting? So this question is again very simple. Examine the scope of food processing industry in India. Bhaiya, India is a country which is top producer of wheat, rice, mango, and whatnot. If you write all this point that we are being largest producer of these all things, then certainly that shows the scope of food processing industry in case of our country. Rice, wheat, the largest producer we are at a global level. Though we are producing comparatively less per hectare, but the point is what? We are one of the largest producer or not? Getting what I am saying? So when you simply write ki we are largest producer in this thing, that thing, and the other, then you will be able to provide the scope. So what you're writing, India's food processing industry contributing 8% of GDP and 30% of manufacturing, that is the one part. Holds vast potential in reducing post-harvest losses, boosting export, and the other. But here you see, second largest producer of fruits and vegetables, third largest in milk, fifth largest in fisheries, and when you talk about the mango, it is the first largest and so many other area. So the point is what? If you have these points, so I'm telling you, what points I am providing? The industry contributes these are the points I have mentioned in the classroom in the notes, you people can check. The food processing sector in India is among the largest globally, with production expected to reach $535 billion by 2025-26, which is around $263 billion in 2021-22. That is the 1 point I'm providing in the classroom, and that students are writing. The industry contributes around 14% of GDPs of India's manufacturing sector and 13% of country's exports. The sector has attracted $6.79 billion in FDI equity inflows over the last decade, highlighting its appeal to international investors. Then directly employing about 2 million people across 40,000 registered food processing factories, the sector significantly contributes to job creation. The government has approved 41 mega food parks, 353 cold chains, 63 agro processing clusters, and numerous other incentives to strengthen the sector's infrastructure. So you have the points in front of you. Are you getting? So when you have all these points with you and still you're not writing in the paper, then what we can do here? Tell me. It's like that I have food in front of my plate, but I'm not eating it because I don't feel like eating. That is the point. So point is what? It's all about, your confidence in your faculty. This question is totally straightforward from our notes. Elaborate the measures taken by government. I just said mega food parks, the cold chains, 353 cold chain projects, 63 agro processing clusters, and the numerous other initiatives have been taken by the government of India for this purpose. But you can also add one point here, I'm telling you. One more point that you need to add here is what? That in this food processing industry, the most important thing that the government have to keep in mind and to make it more strengthened, that we need to make contract farming more strengthened. And we need to provide a legal compliance to complete it. Instead of, going for this land reform thing, we need to go for what? We need to go for what you say. The cooperative farming need to be promoted. And you're the biggest example of cooperative farming, which is the biggest success at a global level, that is Amul. Okay, so when you provide this point, you will get a lot of good marks there. So again, MSME is one of the points that you've mentioned here, because in MSME, as you're aware, that the government of India has provided that 25% of the procurement has to be done from the MSME in the government ministries and the departments and the other. So obviously you have a lot of points, but what all points have been coming to your mind while writing the paper, that is the most important thing. Getting? So these other questions are asked by UPSC in your mains examination from the economics section. So this year I would say from the economics section in paper number 3, 4 questions of 10 marks and 3 questions of 15 marks. So in paper 3 only you have 40 plus 45, you have 85 marks of questions. Okay. So now if you people want to ask anything, you can ask. Bataiye. Anything you want to ask? Say notes are sufficient. I would say more than sufficient, and you will be able to, like, if you see out of 7 questions here, 6 are directly from the notes. 6 are directly from the notes. So you can see all relatable to notes. Sankalp 2.0, yes, Sankalp 2.0, so many, Prahar, then Titan, whatnot, all the batches. Yes, any questions you have in your mind, you can ask. I'm here, I'm all yours. Do you want to ask anything, or should I wind up and the other faculty will take over? Tell me. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. You're most welcome. So you're going to meet tomorrow in the, Sankalp batch, Sankalp 27. So you people have taken the Sankalp to clear the examination in 2027. So, and Prahar I just completed. So thank you very much. The other faculty is going to join the discussion about the internal security questions and the other. Sir, the way of your teaching and make up understand about topics make me feel that economics is very easy. Thank you very much. You're most welcome, Chandrabhan. Prahar 2.0, Sir, what should be the tips for 2026? Just follow the classes and do what is being discussed and revise the things and just, kind of regulate your classes and keep on revising. You will certainly do good, I'm telling you. When you tell about the points, problem, subject, economy, more easy. Great. So Deepshika is saying, thank you, sir. And Shweta is saying, yes, sir. So, thank you very much. Take care and bye-bye. So, the next faculty will take over now. I think Nikhil Ram sir will take over the internal security questions. Thank you. Take care and all the very best for your 26 examination and those who are preparing for 27. All the best.
All right, people, welcome to PWIAS. Please confirm whether the audio and video is clear. Hello, Prince. Miss Beauty. Hi, sir. Hello. All right, people. All right, Rashi Gupta. Hello, Shruti Tiwari. Hello, Abe Bogiwal. Yes. Rashi Gupta. Vanakkam. Sankalp 2.0, no, not necessarily. I'll be taking classes actually only for the Pinnacle batch, the English speaking batch, Pinnacle as well as Titan. That is where I'll be taking my classes. And yes, we are going to come to the last portion of our discussion. Let us get right into it, internal security. So we saw in our morning discussion that 4 questions always comes for internal security. This year also it has been no different. Internal security, all 4 questions are very direct and very straightforward. So for my Titan batch, again, those who have attended the class will be knowing it. Some of them were actually complaining also, sir is teaching everything like a story. He's teaching everything in a story format and he's not giving any major points. That is the thing that they said. When I had clearly told them that I will give you what is each topic, what is the background to it, and whatever the solutions are, the current ongoing solutions, that I'll be giving you as PDF. This is how I take internal security topic, because internal security is one such topic where it is only relevant for your GS paper 3. Other areas you may mention it, maybe in international relations, etc. you may mention it. Other than that, it is not going to come in handy anywhere. So there is no point in actually wasting, maybe let us say 50 hours for internal security or 40 hours for internal security. No, because what again happens is students may end up thinking, oh, 40 hours sir took and taught this. So this is very, very important. It is important, but you need to know how to study it. So that is the criteria here. All right. So terrorism is a global scourge. Global scourge means what? A global nuisance, you can call it. A global problem. How has it manifested in India? That is, how does it exist in India? Elaborate with contemporary examples. What are the countermeasures adopted by the state? So first thing is, terrorism is a global scourge. It's a global problem. That is the first part of your answer. So what will you do? You will easily tell what are the issues here. All right. you will tell what are the issues here. What do you mean by terrorism? The definition, etc. you will give. That is the first part of your answer. All right. What is terrorism? Again, for the students who have sat in my class, I have given you two definitions there. One given by the UN and the other given by the UN Security Council. You can use it. Not necessary that you have to use everything verbatim. The same word should you use? Not necessary. But more or less the meaning should be conveyed. First point. Second point, how it is global. This is the first part of your answer. Second part is basically how is it global. So you mention again a few terror attacks that would have happened in the global scenario. A few examples, anything from current affairs. How has it manifested in India? The manifested in India again. One could be the reason could be religion. Another could be ideology. Independence. So religion means again religious terrorism. Ideology means let us talk about left-wing extremism. Independence, when you talk about, you can say Khalistani movement. Cyber terrorism. These are the formats. Then obviously independence, when I say again, you can throw in Naga insurgency. So all those examples you will give. This is how it has manifested. Contemporary examples they have asked for specifically. So contemporary examples, religion-based terrorism, when you talk about, you need to give examples which are associated with extreme radicalization. Getting the point here. Extreme radicalization you have to give. Major terror attacks as far as radicalization is concerned has been on the decline in the country. You don't have any major examples as such where a terror attack has happened. Even whatever has happened in Pulwama or whatever has happened in, let us say, Uri or Pathankot, all these things, when you take it up, it is actually state-sponsored. Pakistan is the main core player there. The what you talk about, Fidain attacks, etc., that has actually come down in the country. Left-wing extremism, that is still an ongoing example. Independence related also, that has also come down. Cyber terrorism is a genuine issue. So as of now, two real major issues, whatever we have with terrorism is, one is with regard to ideology, the other is cyber. Then obviously you have state-sponsored. That is where our Khujli neighbor, center of gravity of Pakistani armed forces, comes into picture. That you will add. Got the point? This much you will add. Then finally what they have asked, what are the countermeasures adopted by the state? So for each of this, what is the countermeasure? Religion based, again, we are trying for all sorts of de-radicalization programs which are there for the youth in J&K. Ideology wise, as far as left-wing extremism is concerned, we have reduced it now just to a few regions. With your same ink, you can probably shade it, not this big. Mark it like this and leave it. This is the last few areas where left-wing extremism's stronghold is there. Otherwise, this is also going to get eliminated. Insurgency movements, independence movements, etc. has died down long time ago. For cyber, obviously, we are having key initiatives. NAT grid. For state-sponsored terrorism, we are having modernized forces. Left-wing extreme, urban left-wing extremism. Don't put that, Ayush. Don't put that point there. That urban naxalism, etc., what you talk, it is basically support for an ideology. That is not exactly terrorism. Support for an ideology is different from actually going out there and committing that crime. You may support, you may have a let us say affiliation towards the Maoist ideology. You may have an affiliation, but just because you have an affiliation doesn't really prove that you are a terrorist. For that, what you should do is you should be aiding and abetting in it. Got the point here? Having support to an ideology in itself will not constitute terrorism. Then finally, you will give the solution. Community and socio-economic activities, international cooperation, using financial action task force against Pakistan, blacklisting them or grey listing them, all those points you will add up. This is the way you will write the answer. So as you can clearly see, the pattern that I have followed here is, I started out with what? I started out clearly with first the definition of terrorism and how it is a global threat, examples for it, how it is manifested in India, gave contemporary examples also. Then for each example that I gave, what are the counter measures for it. Too many points you won't be able to write because it is a 10 marker. Mind you, I have always been telling you, look at the marks and then start writing. Again, no surprises here. In Srijan's daily test, this question we had kept. The recent terrorist attack on tourists in Pahalgam highlights the persisting threat of terrorism in India despite a decline in overall incidents. Analyze the evolving nature of terror operations and suggest comprehensive measures to enhance counter-terrorism preparedness. It is not at all a difficult task for predicting the nature of questions that will come in internal security. Anybody who is staying updated with current affairs and knows what are the major events that are occurring will easily be able to find out, okay, these are the sections that I should definitely go ahead with. Taking it further forward, the government of India recently stated that left-wing extremism will be eliminated by 2026. What do you understand by LWE? And how are the people affected by it? Clear data you should be giving here. Left-wing extremism, where did it start? Naxalbari village. What is the ideology there? Ideology behind Naxalbari village is what? That is violently overthrowing the government through bloodshed, through a bloody revolution. Bloody means literally blood should come out. Opposing everything that is established by the government and establishing a people's court, people's government. That is the idea. No government. We won't accept your government. That is the idea there. Then, how are the people affected by it? Obviously, you will easily say the data you will give here. The underdevelopment, that you will mention. The security forces that are killed, that you will mention. You will also mention how villagers are forced to give volunteers for the left-wing extremism, which I have taught you in class again. In villages, basically what they do is, if the Maoists will come and they will say that, okay, one family, every family should give away a volunteer for Maoist cause. Many people give away one of their child out of fear. And generally when they give away their child, they will give away their daughters. Because unfortunately, daughters are burdens. Correct? That is the reason. Patriarchal society that we are in. Even after 78 years of independence, we still have absolute dash killing women right in front of their children over dowry. Getting the point here. So again, not related to the topic, but just had to mention it. So villagers donate their own daughter. Those are the ways it is affected. Then what are the measures that have been taken by the government to eliminate LWE? So obviously modernization, development, key development initiatives which are taken, which again I have given in my PDF. National Policy and Action Plan, Samadhan Strategy, Aspirational Districts Program. Aspirational Districts Program targets 112 districts. Skill and Livelihood Initiative Strengthening Rights Framework, Unified Command Structure, Security Strengthening, Special Forces Training, Technology Use, Surrender and Rehabilitation Policies. All this, it will be used over here. Getting the point here? Moving on. The government of, okay, same thing. In recent years, Indian government has adopted an integrated approach to tackle left-wing extremism, combining security operations, infrastructure development, and community engagement. Examine the effectiveness of this approach in ensuring long-term stability in left-wing extremism affected areas. Again, this question had appeared in our Srijan test series. Clear? Any doubts here, people? Any doubts? Moving on to the next topic, or rather the next question. What are the major challenges to internal security and peace process in the northeastern states? Map the various peace accords and agreements initiated by the government in the past decade. So such questions, I have always told you, the best strategy for such questions is first itself you go and draw the map. Draw the map and keep. Once the map is drawn, now the rest of the things will follow. Okay, we have threat from China. From Myanmar, we are having drugs plus weapons. Here you have state-sponsored insurgencies. From Bangladesh also, you could possibly have a fresh influx of terrorism happening. These are the issues here. In addition to this, you also have internal tribal conflicts as witnessed in Manipur. These are the issues, whatever we are having here. And other challenges again. Chicken neck corridor. Getting the point here. These are the things. Challenges are done. Next and foremost important thing is what? Various peace accords and agreements initiated by the government in the past decade. That is, let me tell you, this is the classic, this is what I call classic UPSC. Why classic UPSC is, if you actually look at the major peace accords, Bodo Peace Accord 2020, NLFT Accord 2019, Karbi Peace Accord 21, Adivasi Peace Accord 22, ANVC Peace Accord 14. 14 onwards, basically you have various peace accords. Last decade it is, so we need not actually calculate 14 here. 14, let us say, let us leave it aside. But the rest of it, so many are there. So should I actually go back and find out what was the Bodo issue, what was the NLFT issue, Karbi peace issue, Adivasi peace issue? It's gone, it's done, dusted. But that one-liners are important. The final solution is important when you take it in a chronology. Major events that have taken place with regard to Northeast in the last 10 years, chronology matters. Just the name, the year, what it was about, that much. That much at least you should remember. Then, Bruriang Agreement, ceasefire agreement, Ulfa peace agreement. Got the point here? So, when you put all these up, the job is done. Got it? Moving on. Again, identify the key reasons for the continued presence of armed insurgency in India's northeastern region. Also suggest suitable measures to address these challenges and promote lasting peace. Again, the same question had come in Srijan's test series. Alright, so again, like I told you, you actually study the PYQs properly, your preparation gets done. Alright, if you don't have any plans of joining any academy, you want to do it by yourself. Again and again, I'm reiterating it. Pick up, analyze all the topics from 2013 onwards. Pick up each topic. Start reading through it. Find out if there is any standard textbook for it. Or go to the internet, read out every news article about it. You will have a thorough idea what to write and what not to write. That is all that you need to do. Getting the point here, people? Moving on. Why is maritime security vital to protect India's sea trade? What do you mean by maritime security? providing security along the coastal region as well as beyond. So coastal region, when I talk about, again, map again. Why am I not getting the map proper now? The coastal region, when you talk about, yeah, roughly around here, let us keep. Coastal region, when you talk about this region here. So you need to have what? Coastal Police, Indian Coast Guard, Indian Navy. This much at least we need to ensure what? Proper security. And that is merit, this whole thing. Then local police, all that is involved. But then this is the nutshell. Getting the point here. That much at least we should have. Then, what is the next part? To protect India's sea trade. The sea trade, when you talk about, we need data. 70% of India's trade by value moves through sea routes. 80% of crude oil imports pass through critical sea lanes. Ports and shipping contribute significantly to the GDP, employment, and export competitiveness. Giving you a small homework. Find the exact value. Blue economy, Sagar vision, these are all additional points. You need not go to that level detailing. But why it is important, that much you should stress. Sea trade, how it is important. What percentage contributes to the GDP? What percentage of it is import? What percentage of it is export? So we need it. Then discuss maritime and coastal security challenges and the way forward. What are the challenges here? Obviously, one is piracy and sea robbery. Well, that used to be an old thing. Today, no more. Sea robbery and piracy has actually come down. Somalian pirates you talk about, it has come down. Geopolitical competition. China's naval expansion, especially the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka. So that is where your map becomes important. That you will add up. Correct? The whole string of pearls theory. How Maldives is also threatening India. Now things have started improving. But again, China indirectly, what is it? Asking the neighborhood of India to act against India. Then smuggling and trafficking at sea. Smuggling and trafficking, like I told you in the morning when I discussed the reaction, that most of the drug consignments being caught off the coast of Gujarat or off the coast of Lakshadweep, or even capturing fishing vessels which contains not only drugs but also weapons. Gun running is also run through these routes. Terrorism, coastal security challenges. Terrorism can be there, infiltration can be there. 26/11 we cannot forget. Tsunami, flooding, infrastructure, poor infrastructure along the coastal region. Our ports are still lacking. Our ports are not completely developed. That is the reason why it still takes time. So lesser the time taken at the ports, better will be the trade. That is the logic. Less time. If a ship comes there, immediately robbers come in and start unloading the cargo, then load fresh cargo. The ship moves out immediately. Ship saves on time. Time saved by a ship is nothing but money saved. Got the point here? And the way forward. Strengthen naval and coast guard capacity. It would be better if you name a few vessels. So those names of the vessels, whatever you see in the news, that the Coast Guard has now inducted this vessel, Navy has got this chopper, what is it, this particular submarine we have launched now to take care of our border areas, or I mean coastal areas, etc. Whatever they come out with, at least 2-3 names please remember. Integrated systems like IMAC, IFS, IFC, IOR, train fishermen as eyes and ears of coastal security, regional cooperation through IORA, Quad and Sagar Vision. Now Sagar Vision, again, when we talk about, ensure when you mention any point in your answer, if you give a way forward in one answer, don't repeat the same way forward in another answer. Very, very important, because obviously when you are dealing with economics also, some places you may have mentioned some schemes. Don't repeat it in another question. Whatever way forward you give, whatever schemes you give, ensure that that scheme is only there for that particular answer, nothing else. Blue economy and legal framework. That's it. Very direct, very easy topics as far as internal security is concerned. Pretty predictable too. Recent years, Indian government has adopted an integrated approach. Yeah. All right. So before we wind up, 1 year 2026 Prahar, English and Prahar Hindi. The batches will be starting pretty soon. From tomorrow, the demo classes will start. 25th and 26th will be free demo, which will be available in YouTube. After onwards, the paid batches will literally start running. Those of you still planning to give your attempt, if it is in the Hindi or in the English languages you want, at 9,999 rupees, you can still join the foundation course. Mind you, it is only a GS plus CSAT batch this is. If you are interested in joining for optional, you should enroll for it separately. 2 year 2027, Sankalp English, Sankalp Hindi and Pinnacle English is available for the price of 13,499. Alright, that is 2 year. This is generally what I would recommend for working professionals as well as college going students who still have maybe 2 or 3 years for their passing out, or maybe who are taken up engineering courses. It's not easy to handle engineering and UPSC together, or medicine and UPSC together. For such people, they can consider this. As far as those who are concerned, who want to start the coaching right from their college days, this is what I would recommend. All right from your college days. But mind you, those of you are still in 10th, 11th, 12th, etc., please complete your boards, get into a nice college, then we can start our journey together. Till then, focus on scoring good marks for 10th, 11th, 12th and get into a nice college so that you will have some sort of backup in case UPSC didn't work for you. The sign of a good administrator always is there should be a plan B. Got the point here? Moving on. So there is a Regents Repeaters 2.0 batch which covers prelims, mains and interview. Alright. For 9,999, test series plus mentorship. Again, conditions are applied on this. You can contact the mentors or contact the phone number here or contact PW-OnlyIAS website directly to know further details of it. Okay. With that, we come to an end of our session, people. So that was GS paper 3. I only saw a little bit of the topics that was being discussed by Pratik sir, but from the discussion, at least one thing is clear. Economics, most of the questions, I think 6 out of the 7 questions came from his notes. Same thing applies for internal security too. Out of the 4 questions, nearly 3.5 questions directly from the notes. Whatever I gave. From there, only the questions have come. So easily you could have answered it. Got the point here. I did not see the first faculty's discussion. I was unable to view it or rather see it. But yeah, so far from whatever we have seen, please understand one thing. Generally, as far as most faculties are concerned, they always prefer to give all their notes in one single area so that the notes covers everything. So that the students need not actually go around referring for books. Whenever students come to me and ask me, sir, what books to refer for internal security, I just say one thing, go by the basic definitions and then the solutions. That's all that is there to it. Beyond that, there is nothing else to get updated with. That is the logic. Got the point here? So yeah, that's as much as about it. Any other questions? Anything else before we sign off? Any questions, people? Science and tech हो गया. What about economy? That all got over. Rupya come from Kerala. Please speak about what? Economy is done, Mr. Rupya. Rupya come. It's already done and dusted. Pratik sir already covered it. This discussion basically started from 7 p.m. onwards. For those of you are asking for my Telegram channel, this is what it is. Any other concerns? Adi show anything is, any sort of degree is fine. Even if it is a college, distance education, through correspondence, you're pursuing your degree. Even that is absolutely fine. Your graduation, your 10th, your 12th, nothing matters here. Sorry, Manikandan, you have come to the wrong place to ask for gate. Science and tech, everything got done in the first hour of this. If you visit the video from the beginning, you can see the discussion. Okay, the same set of questions are getting repeated. So let us call it a day, people. Good night. Take care.